evening to your viewers. So it's a couple of weeks when we had the intelligence that such the things we spoke about this morning were happening or had happened. So we took steps to get the investigation started.
And in the investigations, you've uncovered several properties that were in his name after 2018, among others. And all of that was highlighted today. I'm sure you've seen the response from his lawyers. They feel that you or the AG's office is trying the case in the court of public opinion when the court has said nothing yet.
Thank you. We are running a democracy. Okay, the powers that we exercise as the Office of Attorney General are powers that originally belong to the people of Ghana. It is incumbent upon those of us who are given the responsibility to exercise these powers on behalf of the people to be accountable to the people. One of the key ways of accountability is to get the people informed of what is happening. We call it transparency.
Right.
You would agree that there's been a whole lot of demand from the public as to what exactly is going on with the oral, project. And so it is in that spirit, that very important spirit, that we think that we need to update the people on what is happening. Indeed, I can understand the concern of the defense lawyers. It is true that sometimes when you bring out information at this, you are likely to injure the reputation of persons who are involved, particularly when it turns out that they are not actually, they've not done what you have accused them of doing. So I can really understand that situation. However, as you can see, this is just one of the many cases that we have brought up. Mm-hmm. What it tells you is that we are not in the business of bringing people to these kind of cases to the public's attention unless we have sufficient evidence to do so. So with our investigators from National Security to IOCO to the police, they have interrogated over 50 people in relation to some of these accusations. Even in this particular case, we have more than the two people that we have mentioned who have been arrested, who are under investigation. Others have been cautioned, and we are yet to arrest more. But you would notice that we did not bring anything about those people to the public. What it means is that we are very much conscious of the injury that some of these announcements would do. But in this particular case, it appears we have sufficient facts to get the people of Ghana to understand what is going on. So this is not one of the cases where you will be justified if you accuse us of bringing it to the public attention, because indeed it is something that the public needs to know.
So it's in the public interest in terms of you being transparent with the processes that you're embarking on. But the lawyers argue that there's been no charges against them. And so why do you go on if you've not proffered charges? What are you waiting for to actually proffer charges against the two that you've so far talked about?
Yes, the requirement is not that when we are really if the concern is that why haven't we preferred charges against? Why haven't we charged them? Why haven't we arraigned them? That concern could be addressed with the answer that the investigation, as far as, if you look at the case, it's a very complex case. Look, several companies have been discovered so far. Now, let me tell you, how did we discover these companies? It all started with just one company. And then when you go through the transactions of that company, then you realize that it leads you to another company. Then you follow the money, then realize that it leads you to two more companies. Then we discovered over 12 companies, some in Ghana, 2 of them in the United Kingdom. What it tells you is that as we discover even more. And that is what makes this case quite, interesting and unique. So in as much as we are ready to start prosecuting based on the fact that we have had, it is becoming, clear that more people are involved than we currently have. And anyone who has done prosecution before or who is familiar with how investigation and prosecution is done, the person would agree that you would have to sometimes wait, no matter how, you have to wait for a while. So even though this is just one case, it has led us to other cases which we believe that we need to wait and see some. I mean, we need to see a more clear picture to be able to commence prosecution. And so in the coming days, not long, you would see that these cases will be filed, I mean, in the court of law.
So when the Attorney General spoke earlier today, he gave the indication that, well, upon advice and upon certain things that he's encountered, he is even directed that he be released and rearrested. What is his current state now? Is he in your custody?
Yeah, he's still in our custody. And that tells you, that confirms the point I was making, that new discoveries are coming up. So even though our intention was to charge him today, last night we received further briefing, which suggests that he is actually more of a flight risk than our initial assessment. So we discovered that he has multiple passports, Ghanaian passports. We also discovered that he has the capacity to acquire, other nationalities across, these days with money you can acquire nationalities. So this new information has, led us to exercise some restraint in how we even begin to prosecute the matter. And you would also, there's one thing that I need to put across.
Right.
Even though we have been following on this case, the investigation on this case have taken some weeks. We wouldn't have, I don't think this would be the time to arrest the gentleman but he's someone who is very fluid when it comes to moving across borders. And as the Attorney General has indicated, he's actually been fluid even within the few weeks that we thought that he was coming to Ghana. He was still fluid. So our understanding is that once he enters the country, we need to have an interaction with him and get him to be put into the criminal justice, system immediately before we lose him forever.
Interesting. Well, we'll wait for the coming days and get to understand how it all pans out. But quickly, on the NSS scandal, you indicated that the Attorney General indicated that an MP received some money to kill the story. There've already been calls on you to name that MP. What is it going to take for us to know who that member of parliament is? Because the accusation is that it indicts the whole of parliament if we don't know the specifics here.
Well, I can again understand those who believe that not naming the MP is an indictment on the whole of parliament, but it is not exactly so in this case. And within a few days, the full story will be told, and you would understand and probably agree with us that investigations are there are very delicate issues that you are dealing with. You don't want a situation where information you give out would mar or derail the entire investigation. It is enough that the public will know that such steps are taken by someone to engage an MP to kill the story. Naming the person would only be an additional, but it won't take away from the fact that that situation has come across. So we'll plead with the public to just be a bit patient with us. In due course, the MP will be named and will be publicly named, and also the other relevant information that we believe the public needs to know at this point will be brought to the attention of the public.
Okay, and then finally, on the SkyTrain issue, the Attorney General indicated that, just like you're saying, that Kwabena Adu-Boahene has been very fluid. The boss of GIF, former boss, is also been fluid. From South Africa, he's now landed in Senegal. Do you still have intelligence as to when you are able to know he's coming to town? The Attorney General said 3 months. Is he still being fluid?
Yeah, he indicated to us that he will be here in 3 months. But a lot can happen between now and the 3 months. One thing that we also know is that the choice of destination that these suspects are using are also destinations where we do not have, extradition treaties with. So it looks like there's some deliberate or careful way of going about these things and the purpose, we believe, from where we sit, is to evade the justice system. 3 months from now, who knows? He may show up earlier than that, or he may find himself in a country with which we have extradition agreement, where we will ask him to be brought down. So we are open-minded about these options, and we are ready to take advantage of any of the options as soon as the opportunity presents itself.
Doc, thank you so much for engaging with us tonight, and we'll keep tabs on your work in the coming days.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Right.
And have a good evening.
You too. That's Deputy Attorney General